podcast, whatever thing now, and they were like, "Okay, what's the Discord? We want to join." So
Perfect. I appreciate it. And
I don't know. Maybe you're gonna get new people. You don't have to accept them, but they're probably cool for that.
hey, we accept everybody.
What's
Hey,
going on,
coach.
Joe?
Hey, bud, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's the new gig?
It's good. It's good. It keeps me busy.
Are you gonna kind of give details about that tonight?
I can. We can talk about whatever you guys want.
Yeah,
I would definitely want to hear about that. It's the Lobos. Is that what it's called?
Toros.
Say it again.
The Toros.
Toros. Okay.
Oh
Yeah, definitely want to hear about that. And then maybe, have you done anything different with the outlaw play? You know, we did that on our channel. And it's still like a huge. I still get hits on that all the time.
yeah. No, not. That's the beauty of that play. It's is what it is. It's a very simple play that no, I've never even thought about doing anything different with that.
Okay.
beautiful.
This is cool. Like I'd never even been on Discord until um I guess whenever I got the job with the Toros, our ownership was talking to me about some things that people like some things about Discord that people were posting and different deals, and so I signed up just to look at that. But I've never like I guess posted or have done anything. So I didn't even know that you could do videos and stuff like this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a great platform. It's like a community platform, and I do community work for technology companies, and one of the reasons why we chose this, there's a couple like
I was
this.
down in Charlotte this weekend. We went to the let's look at the Glacier Clinic there Friday night.
Oh yeah,
So got to meet a few guys that I've talked to online several times, like Coach Bent, and he's a good dude. We had a couple of beers and then ate after we both spoke on Friday, and then I wanted to meet Dub Maddox, but he was there, and he Coach come in and tell me that Dub said hello to me, but I never got over there to talk to him. After I ate, I just went to sleep, and got up Saturday morning and threw my sunglasses on and kind of incognito, like walked out of there and left the hotel.
are you? Do you follow the R4 at all? Are you? Is that something you
Yeah,
implemented with
how are
your?
things with you now, Joe? What are you up to now?
Uh, Chasing jobs right now. Hopefully, I got a big meeting on Wednesday, so
Hello.
hopefully we'll be able to finalize some stuff.
Okay. Good.
Awesome. Are you guys able to hear my voice?
I can hear you. It doesn't sound like Sam can.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay. I want to make sure I get that
I hear you. Is
done.
that Matt?
Yeah, that is Matt. I just want to make sure that it's set up before we go live properly.
Yeah, because
Let's.
I hear you're the only person at all that I've heard. So,
You haven't heard Joe? See, I don't think he can hear me. Shoot.
So
Um.
you're hearing my voice or you're hearing Matt's voice?
I hear you. You're the only one that
Okay.
like. Yeah, I don't hear anything at all from
Well,
Matt.
Matt's steady talking and you're not hearing him, so let him
Yeah,
fix it.
I'm not ignoring him right now.
This is his baby. I've never been on Discord before either, so he kind of does. He does this for.
Hello.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
I can still hear you.
You can hear. I'm just
Can
trying
you
to
hear
see if I can
Uh,
swap it because he
me?
he heard me
Yeah,
initially,
yeah,
and I'm not sure what happened. What I'm gonna pop out. I'm gonna pop right back in just for fun.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
Duh.
There we
yeah.
go.
It's the air raid horn. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, yes.
Hey, it is, and I hear you now.
Okay,
It worked.
perfect.
That's you.
That is me. Yeah, sorry,
That
man.
not super reliable.
Yeah, what I was saying was Discord is there's a lot of community platforms like this, but this one's a little more interactive. It usually like a younger crowd, but we do a lot of things in here. We'll start like watching film together, and you can kind of do that in this atmosphere. You can play cards together. You can watch YouTube together, a lot of different like things that younger people do in different ways, like streaming. But I thought it would be fun to kind of add that type of aspect to obviously, like, there's a bunch of forum stuff on the left hand side of your screen too.
Yeah, I see. Culture. It was behind the new unreads, and for me, it looked like cult, and I was like, well, kind of.
All right, cool. Well, let's kick off this.
Expecting it the whole time.
Well, let's try to do a real opening here. Basically, Stan, I heard you guys talking when you guys were talking, and yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're all on the same page. Basically, we'll just kind of open up here. I'll do like a real just basic intro, do a little bit of air raid banter. We usually do just kind of like what's new in air raid this week or so. And then obviously we'll bring you in. I have some quarterback questions. I don't know, Joe, we were talking about last week kind of asking people like what's their best air raid concept when the chips are down. Is that the outlaw play that you guys were talking about earlier? Stan, would you say that's the outlaw play?
I don't know if I would think of it as a chips are down type play. For me, that's just that's an easy completion.
Okay, cool.
Well, I guess if any time that I get in that situation, we're just running six.
Love it. Okay. Well,
over and over and over.
We'll get there. We'll try to dig into that. And then obviously, Joe, it's pretty light stuff. So any questions that come up along the way, I think it's just a great opportunity we have a lot of obviously high school coaches, but some middle school as well. And what I thought, Stan, would be interesting is since you've kind of coached this, different people, different countries, different mental, where people are kind of with football, how we can kind of translate that to some quarterback stuff here too.
Sure.
All right, cool. All right, well, let me just do this intro and then we can kind of get going. You guys ready? All right, awesome. All right, welcome again to another Sunday Night Air Raid Academy. Quick reminder for anyone joining us live on YouTube tonight, you can watch it live right where you are on YouTube. But if you want to ask questions directly to our guest, Stan Bedwell, jump into the room inside the Air Raid Academy community in Discord, and you can be part of the conversation. It looks like there's a couple people already here, and we've already gotten some questions coming in. But first, let's just quickly say hello. Coach Salas, how you doing tonight?
Good, buddy. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so this is going to be another fun one. And obviously, we usually do a little air raid this week in air raid banter, but we might as well bring Coach Stan in as well because he's Mr. Air Raid right now. Welcome to the show, Stan Bedwell.
Yeah, appreciate you. Good to be here.
Absolutely. And I'll do a quick intro for you just in case people don't know, but I'm sure most of the folks on the call do know Coach. But real quickly, Stan is one of the most prolific quarterbacks in international football history. After playing quarterback collegiately here at Belhaven, he took the air raid offense overseas, where he threw for over 36,000 yards, more than 400 touchdowns, winning multiple championships, multiple MVPs along the way. Had a game where you threw for 11 touchdowns in one game. That's insane. And now he's just took the role of head coach, general manager at the San Antonio Toros. Did I cover off on most of the key points there, Coach?
That works for me, man. I'm just really happy that you're doing it because I hate talking about myself so much. I hate when people are like, introduce yourself because I just don't like doing it. So I appreciate that. I think it was perfect.
All right, perfect. No, it's a lot of fun to have you here, Coach. We were just talking beforehand and how your experience overseas might translate well for some of our younger quarterbacks and coaches that are involved. So we're excited to talk to you about that. But first, kind of around the air raid horn, Joe and I kind of banter a little bit about it. I mean, obviously I want to talk Toros and how that's going to be a part of that. But I did just see something in the paper earlier today about North Texas. There's a North Texas quarterback that transferred with the air raid coach. Have you guys heard about this guy that they just transferred? Drew
the transfer from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, exactly. Drew Messmaker, I guess, and his coach Eric Morris. Did you guys, either one of you guys, know Eric Morris as a coach or any interactions with him?
I don't have any interactions. I mean, he played H for Mike at Texas Tech, and he was a really good player. So
Oh,
I
nice.
enjoyed watching him play. He was there when they had Graham Harrell and Crabtree and that crew, and he was a really good player there. It was kind of uh, another rendition, maybe a poor man's Wes Welker there, but he was fantastic. So I loved watching him play. But coaching, I've seen him move up through the ranks really fast, but I've never interacted with him or spoke to him.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Obviously, in this day and age of transfer portal and people kind of moving around, coaches have to do what they have to do. But it's interesting to see the quarterback go. I mean, obviously, these quarterbacks learn a system and they probably get used to it or accustomed to it. But um, I'm curious from your guys' perspective, if he were to stay and a new coach that's not pure air raid comes in, how much of a learning curve is that for him to kind of pick up? I'm assuming it would be some version of spread, but any thoughts on that? How hard that transition would be if he's been learning under Eric Morris for that long and having to kind of start over?
And from how we teach it, I think it would be very difficult or it definitely would be like for me. I always feel like since I've learned air raid that I'm not playing football. I'm playing air raid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was a very good football player, a very good quarterback, but I was pretty good in air raid. So everything's we're not asking guys to really do a lot. It's just can you count to five and as you're going through that progression, throw to the guy that's open. And I think that a lot of other offenses are going to get a lot more wordy with terminology. And I mean, I don't think I've been anywhere at any level that what we teach. And I teach even if I'm working with say my freshmen or installing at a middle school or something like that. We don't dumb it down. I'll run if you hire me to coach a middle school, I'd run the exact same everything the exact same as I'll be running it at the professional level this summer. So I think there's definitely going to be a lot more to learn.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting with all the movement. You're starting to see coaches kind of go in pairs with the quarterbacks, and makes a lot of sense. Makes a ton of
Well,
sense.
I'm sure if I'm sure if I'm the quarterback, I'm probably getting a lot better NIL money at Oklahoma State than North Texas, and it's a chance to play at a lot bigger platform. So I'm sure outside of the familiarity with the offense and with Coach Morris, there's probably a few more things that are enticing to go to Stillwater.
My experience this year is that everything is drastically more complicated in in other type spread systems, from the play calling to the formations to the progressions. Everything is ungodly complicated compared to the simplicity of the air raid. So I would, not to mention probably $1 million in NIL, the system would be extremely difficult to change gears. And I don't know how a quarterback goes from air raid to something different. Uh, I can see him going from something different to air raid pretty easily, but the switch it was ungodly. What I witnessed this year, it was scary.
Yeah. Well, we're already getting comments on YouTube, fellas, about you know being the entire point of the air raid, right? For these coaches that are trying to learn is to simplify. So, sounds like they're on the right track. And
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always. I think the weirdest thing that I get is no matter how many people I teach it to, when I go and I teach the offense, you always just kind of get a okay, what else? That's it. And it's like no, that's it. There's I think there's a lot of teaching within each concept, but um, I think as long as you understand the basics of it, then it's really simple.
yeah. So I mean that takes me to an interesting point. Um, so when you were in Europe and you were coaching, you were
Okay.
brought over as an American quarterback because you probably understood the game and they knew you were playing. Was the quarterback always kind of imported, or were you teaching people that grew up in the UK to be quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, every team you go to, there's going to be domestic quarterbacks. So you're going to have quarterbacks from where you're from. But there's, most teams, unless you have a really talented domestic quarterback, it's tough because we're indoctrinated here in the States that you're doing it from, youthful, the time you're a little kid all the way up through, middle school, high school, and so forth. They're like in Europe, the average age that guys start playing are probably like around the middle school to high school age.
Right. Yeah.
So, just the development is a bit behind, and unless you're in a really good program. So most teams will bring an American. Oh, and you're always limited with the amount of foreigners that you can have, and
Oh.
that changes by the country and by the league. But I don't think there's any that you can have more than maybe six Americans and three on the field at a time. So um, you usually, that's a spot that you want to start with, is bringing in a good quarterback. And most teams, when they bring you, they want whoever the American quarterback is to kind of teach the younger guys underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a big part of it is that you just have coaches there that maybe you might have a really smart X and O offensive coordinator over there that's also from, the Finland or wherever you're at, but the actual techniques of the position, they might not be quite as good at teaching that as what you get from a guy that's played it for a long time in the States.
Right. And so, you were saying if you were hired as a middle school coach or coach of high school, college, so what's the first thing for these new coaches or coaches that are getting new kids? Like, what's the first thing that you teach air raid? Is it just kind of break down philosophy, or are you getting into just field work, or how do you kind of start the process with a new quarterback?
I'm always going to start, yeah, I'll always start with philosophy and, understanding what we're doing and that it's not, what we're doing is a little bit different and how that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's, different technique with the offensive line or different splits, things like that. Um, but where I always start in general is I do a shit ton of settling noose,
Nice.
whenever I start working with guys. And yeah, I go to a new school, I might spend a practice or two just doing settling noose because I am a firm believer that it's the first thing we do every day and it sets the tone. And through all the years, you know, thousands of practices now, I've never, we've never had one day that we were bad at settling noose and then we had a good practice or a good game after that. Because it's such a, I think a lot of people do that drill as kind of an afterthought. And, or they just do it because they've been told to do it. But it's very important. You're working your center snaps. You've got the quarterbacks. We have them on the line, so he's catching and making sure that his drop is going straight back and not angled to a different side. We kind of got coaches coming up behind them trying to knock the ball out there, so they're working ball control, they're working their footwork. We give them a play every single time that every single snap. When and Pat and Go will take whatever our install is for the day. So if it's day one, we're probably doing open six, we're doing blue 92, probably hitching Friday in a quick game. So I'll just say, open six, blue 92, and I want to see them. I want to see their hips turning through their progressions. And so, the quarterback's working their footwork, they're working the progression mentally, they're working throwing an accurate throw to the shoulder away from whatever cone we stick off of. Receivers are working stance, they're working their release, they're working us, keeping a little pad level, getting around, they're working to get up when they get around the defender, they're working sticking their route, they're coming up, they're watching the catch into their hands, they're making sure they're securing the ball, and then we always teach, I tell guys, glass hallway. What that means is, if I'm running that settling noose and I stick it down right here, and my hands go up, quarterback should be throwing on this shoulder away from the cone that I just stuck it on. And what I don't want to do is catch it and turn with my left foot out because that's going to take a step over. What I want to do is catch it, tuck it, dip my shoulder, and turn straight up. So I tell them glass hallway in a sense of if I catch the ball right here, in my mind there's glass right here, a wall right beside it.
Mm.
So if I step outside of this, either way I'm kicking the glass. So I want to stay within my body frame, tuck it, dip, and turn straight up. and we feel like we get an extra amount of extra yards when we do that. So settling loose huge. Start there, and then what I always do first day of practices is after settling loose and pat and go, we focus on our adjustments on six. So we're just going to do drill. We're not going to actually teach plays on the first day. I know like Coach Leach would do like a 6 day where they only do six.
Mm-hmm.
What I what I've what I found my sweet spot to really help us with installing the offense is we are gonna work our man or zone turns where we do the fallouts on six on the outside, and then the slots are they either got a sit route on the seam or a skinny post on the seam depending on which guy it is. And so we're going to take a period where we're just working on those adjustments, and they're starting to understand that because six is the play that we run the most. Then we're going to go shallow, and what we're going to do in shallow is just work. I've kind of set up a little drill where we put cones about a yard and a half past the line of scrimmage, and we'll line up receivers on one hash, and so they're doing a 40-yard dash full sprint down that line. We're throwing them shallows, and then we got cones that kind of carry out and gradually build up to the numbers. We call it shallow drill. So they're sprinting fast as they can, they catch it, then they're turning up and going to score. And we have a coach about 20 yards away with a stopwatch. And, he's clicking that stopwatch, 7.23. And so it becomes a challenge, that they're like competing against each other. But why that's important is over all the years that I've installed this, you get guys running. It blows my mind how many coaches that run shallow at the high school level and lower are they're just like, oh, we're terrible at shallow. We're not good at shallow. And when I watch the film, it's always the same. The guys are jogging. They're jogging or they're too deep.
Mm.
That's the two things. Or the quarterback is telegraphing by staring at him, watching him all the way across. So, with this, we're working our quarterback's eyes away where they kind of work into his vision. And we're really, by adding that competition aspect with the timing, we are really, enforcing that they've got to sprint when they run shallow. So I always tell them it's a 40-yard dash. So we'll do that, and then mesh is the next one that we do on that first day. And all I do is I take everybody, even the running backs who never mesh in our offense, but I'll take them all, and I do a mesh progression where we'll set them on each hash, and then we'll set a cone at 6 yards, and they're just going to walk straight to that cone with the Y over the X. And all they're literally going to do is walk to it. They're going to have to put their hand in their pocket, like pinky in their pocket, or they're like, hands are right there and they're touching hands. And then they're going to go back and jog through it. Then they're going to go back and sprint through it.
Mm.
And then we'll carry that through. Next time through, we're going to go give them like a zone look. And they're going to work making a zone call, which we say zebra. So they're going to say zebra, 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 zone. And they're going to hit hands, and then they're going to settle up. They'll walk, jog, run. And then we'll do it with man. And they're going to do it man, make it work in that same angle. Now they're working up. They're meshing and working up. And then after we get through that with the jog walk or walk jog run, then we get to where we actually set somebody there and they're starting to read it and make the calls to each other. So we'll do about 15-minute periods. That first day, if you give me an hour with the offense, I'm probably going 15 minutes settling loose, 15 minutes of uh, 6 working those adjustments, 15 minutes of shallow, 15 minutes of mesh, and then the rest we can kind of the next day we don't have to teach mesh again because we've already started to work on that. So when we get to Blue 92 the next day installing it for the first time, they've already worked it a little bit, and I've just found that to really accelerate the learning if you take that first day and do it that way.
I love that. I mean, it's interesting when we talk to these air raid coaches, and Salas is one of them. I always ask him, and Shane was on Dular last week. I asked both of them what's the most important part of this, and it always comes back to practice and setting that practice schedule up. And I've been preaching about settle and noose and pat and go, and I think people have a real hard time, like you just said, seeing it as mandatory versus, if they can get there early for practice and do it, that'd be great. or instead of like literally scheduling it in or making it mandatory before practice.
Well, you gotta emphasize, like anything, you have to emphasize it. So you have to emphasize the importance of it over and over and over again. And it's just like for me, I've always found it's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I've always found it kind of silly when I know we did it in high school. And I've seen a lot of staffs do it. That if it's like a rain week, you you're dipping balls. You know,
Mm.
it's like, oh, it's supposed to rain Friday night, so you're dipping footballs like in buckets of water, and you're practicing all week with this wet, waterlogged football. And for me, I would never want to emphasize that with my guys because I've got them worried about. They're worried about fumbling the ball so much
Mm.
that if my main emphasis, if every rep we do all week is going to be with this wet football, that's what I emphasize the most. So they're more worried about a wet football than they are about working you know however many steps they have on their route or anything like that because that's what I've preached all week. And I think if I make it a big deal, then it's going to be a big deal, and then they're going to worry about it, and then they're going to mess up. But we kind of don't really ever even talk about weather conditions or something like that, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you doing a 3 day install these days, or has that modified at all?
Yeah, no, it's still a 3 day. So I mean, in a typical places like say here at the high school that I still help coach at, we get 10 spring practices. The first practice is going to be that day where we work on those basics, and the same thing we just talked about, and then we see that we get three. We get to go through three installs. So we always think of it by how many days we get. We get 12 practices. That's okay. We got four installs.
That's great. That's great. Quarterbacks. Sorry, I'm so focused on quarterbacks. I just feel like teaching. If I can teach quarterbacks, I feel like I can help teach coaches. It's almost another way to kind of use the same teaching um, lessons for me, at least. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
do you see that there's common mistakes, or have you found some common mistakes that coaches do, or that maybe you did on accident when you were just starting out coaching quarterbacks, and that you just realized over time that maybe this wasn't the right thing to focus on at this point, or have you heard stories of like just things to avoid doing when you're trying to coach up a quarterback in this
Well,
offense?
something that I observe a lot, if I'm watching maybe young coaches that I like, if they're on the offensive side with me, then I mean, one, we don't really do much indie. Our O line coach is over there, and he's kind of, I always say he's the head coach of the O line over there. So he's going to be with the big boys the whole time, but all our skill guys are together. And so I found that to be hard a lot of times for coaches because they're used to having, their own drills. Like, this is my time that I get to shine and,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I think that, guys will ask me, well, what am I, I've had coaches say, like, now after working high school for 4 years, because I've never done high school before that. And they say, well, you know, how are we supposed to be involved and teach when you're out there running around the entire practice, like, coaching up every single thing? And I say, well, like, match my energy, listen to the words that I say. We're doing settle the news, or pat and go. I'm constantly talking about freeze the catch, tuck it high and tight, finish, score. And, I try to coach in like 3 or 4 word sentences at the most. So I try to make all my coaching points very little things, and I'm like, just emulate. What we do works. It's a system for a reason. It's a system because it works, and just emulate it, learn it, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think that's something you get with a lot of young coaches is they want to have their indie time and they want to do their drills and then what they do is they go online and they find the next new fun drill and then they want to do it, but they're maybe not versed in teaching it as well as who they learned it from, or it doesn't fit what we do. So I think just I think it's good to always want to go out and learn and get better, but I don't think you always have to do that or always have to reinvent the wheel. What we got right now is a good thing, and I just kind of push guys to you know stay within the system of what we're doing, and just over time hear the things that we're saying, and just start to pull that in yourself. And then it gets a lot easier for me when we get that point when if I've got a running back coach and a receiver coach that one's on one side while we're doing settle and new or pat and go or whatever, one's on the other. They're coaching up those receivers. I can kind of bounce back and forth between the two quarterbacks. Talk to the guys at the back of the line, just kind of you
Hmm.
know keep it light right there. And yeah, for me that's it's just don't you don't always have to find the next you know great drill or next great technique to do because there's a lot of good ones out there and anything you do regardless of the system or the technique or the drill if you do it well you're going to be successful.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about reps. I mean, I think that's the that's one of the key pieces for this air raid philosophy. I mean, you've kind of encapsulated it multiple times in what you're saying. Just keep it simple, repetition. You don't need to invent anything new. People have already solidified this program. Coaches like Salas and obviously have taken it down to the high school level with great success. So it's already out there for you. I actually, because I was at the even younger levels, I would print out little note cards and hand them to my receiver coach. And like, while we're doing settle news, this is key talking points, tight turn, like you were talking about, just so, every year it's a different coach. So just hand him, here's the key points. And, after a few practices, he started to learn it, but at least,
Yeah,
you're giving them the tips and once they say it a few times, it's muscle memory.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea, and that's usually what I tell guys. I'm like, watch me for a full install. Let's get through these three practices. Watch me there, and then each day you just kind of slowly come in and make your voice heard with what we're doing. Or sometimes it's okay to not have your voice heard. And I think that that's something that I
Right.
recognize with a lot of young coaches too is that, they want to get in and probably, more so the young coaches than the guys that have done it a long time is, they want to get their word in at the end of practice or they're the ones that'll sit there and have the 10-minute talk. And coach will talk for 2 minutes and then, the young receiver coach or whatever will pull the guys over and talk for 15 minutes about what it was like when he was in school and his inspirational story. And
Oh
I think they
man.
just watch too many movies and see these you know, I guess inspirational talks that people do, and they feel like it's their time to shine.
Oh my
And I don't know.
gosh.
I'm not a big believer in motivational
Exactly.
speeches or anything before games or during games. I feel like you do them and everybody cheers and they go crazy, and then 30 seconds later, it's on to the next thing.
That's so
In
funny.
reality,
Yeah, well, yeah. You get the the whole team and they're jumping up and down. I mean, I think it's the stupidest thing. You run out, you run through the little banner that the cheerleaders made for the week. That's like I don't know, eat a tiger or whatever the hell it says, and you run through it, and then you're out at midfield and everybody's like jumping up and down and they're going crazy. They're getting hype, right? And then you're like screaming, and then you know whatever Toros on three, 1, 2, 3 Toros, and then they just turn
Yeah.
back and then they just jog to the sideline.
15 minutes. Wait.
And it's like, okay, yeah. I don't think any touchdown pass has ever been thrown or caught or any block or tackle's been made by you doing that.
Oh
So
man.
I used to always hate it because I'd get like a big, like crazy linebacker that would like headbutt me in the head or some shit, and then I feel like I have a semi concussion before the game even starts.
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, Coach Salas. I don't want to control like the entire quarterback conversation. Or I know I'm making this a lot about quarterbacks. I'm just trying to get my information while I can from Stan. But don't let me just.
no, I'm the same. I've taken 2 pages of notes already. Stan, have you like we still the only ones we're teaching is foot fire and hand fight releases. Have you gone to a next step on on receiver releases, or are you still just on the basics?
I mean, I'm a firm believer that the best release is to just go. I don't think you get pressed that much in high school. We don't get pressed that much in high school. But most high school,
We'll get some press.
I mean, when we get pressed, at the end of we get pressed, and here's the bottom line that I'm, at least in my 4 years of high school ball now, if my guy's better than their guy, it doesn't matter what he's doing pressing, we're probably going to beat him. If he's better than us, we're probably not going anywhere regardless of what technique we worked. Um, I mean, the main thing that I find a lot of times guys they get too cute with it. I know Coach Leach several times that he would be pretty outspoken about his guys not just running the routes. He's like, we're getting too cute with our routes. We're making too many head jabs and all this stuff. And you see all these one-on-one videos and things like that. And the guys do these things and it gets them open, but it also takes like 7 seconds for you to run a 10-yard out. And, my line's not that good. Um, but yeah, as a whole, I mean, foot fire is always where I'm going to start it. Foot fire away from where I want to go, get the fast hands, fast feet, keep the low pad level, and then just be really, really, working on being really aggressive with your hands there to get them off of you, get them turned, working to move back inside. And then stacking, I think that's a huge thing off the release is if I'm getting pressed, if I'm on the outside and I'm getting pressed, a lot of times what guys will do is like, so if I'm quarterback's in here, receivers out here, I might foot fire it out, I'll foot fire it outside to try to get that corner turned a bit, and then I'll slap and I'll release back inside. But what a lot of guys will do is they'll push them in, and then because they're outside of them now, they'll just break straight onto their slant. So that defender, if I'm the defender here and I'm working with the receiver and I'm pushing him out, and then he makes that move back on the inside of me, if I just go right now, I'm turning back, he's already in my vision, and I'm going to haul ass to try to catch him. If you get me there, you push me away, and then you stack back on top of me after, so now you get around, I turn, I don't see you. For me to see you, I have to turn all the way, which takes me longer to get to you, which gives you more depth. And now I'm behind you, and you're sticking off on me and breaking, and you just get so much more separation. So, but I think the foot fire is great. You can take it even vertical more with like a diamond type release. Another one teaches us an aggressive release where if we have say one of our Ys or a bigger receiver, a tight end type guy, you're pressing him. If you're not bigger than him, I teach them just to be low and just really drive through. I want you to fire off, drive through, and we'll get a time or two a year when we have a good tight end where they just put the corner on his ass. And then we're basically uncovered and just kind of pop it over there.
Awesome.
I like it.
All right, we're getting some questions coming in. We are, everybody, I know everyone is interested in to see what Stan's chips on the table play is, and we're going to get there, I promise. But we're getting some questions coming in from the audience. Number one, I think this was, do you have any footage of practice drills? So I think everyone wants to see, settle and noose and pat and go and some of that stuff. I know Coach Salas does. I'll put that in the show notes for sure when this gets re-edited. But Stan, I don't know. Do you create content on YouTube or anything? I mean, you've been a pretty busy guy coaching and now GMing up there.
No, I don't do too much content. I mean, I usually try to. I mean, I usually try to just keep pretty much what I do to X or Twitter, whatever we want to call it, and I'll do like these Q&As if I'm driving because I get bored.
Nice.
So if I'm on like long road trips, then I'll do that quite a bit. But no, as far as like putting out videos and stuff, I haven't really done it. And honestly, I don't know if I have much interest in doing that. I mean, when Joe's asked me to come on and do some things with him, you guys like that, I'm always, or this for example, I'm always happy to help. But myself, like being a content creator, I don't really think of myself as that. I don't really have much interest in doing that. I did speak. I spoke 3 sessions at the Glacier Clinic this weekend.
Nice.
I spoke on 6. I spoke on mesh, and then the last one I spoke was on practice and game planning. And so I do have I put some cut ups of us running. I got some clips of settling loose, a little bit of pat and go, and then kind of routes on air and the bandit drill. So I'm happy to share my screen and pull some of that up if you guys want.
Very cool. Yeah, I definitely think we'll have time to do that. So, yeah, let's get through a few more of these questions and we can get to that. But yeah, I'll link Joe's videos that he has too, so everyone can see kind of different aspects of this. I'm sorry, and that I should have said the name of that coach to make sure that they get Coach Daron asked that question. Now, Coach, and that question came in on the community page. The YouTube page has a question from Coach Facili. He's wondering how you guys are calling plays. Are you no huddle, hand signals, wristbands at that level, or what are you guys doing?
We're no huddle hand signals everywhere.
Got it. No matter what. Okay. That is definitely air raid. Wonderful. And another question from Coach Tim Meyer, 8759. Coach Bedwell, is there a preference to run 61/62 plays to the field or to the boundary, as well as cover 1, 2, 3, or 4? Well, let's just keep that, I guess, two separate.
Well,
61, 62, the field or the boundary?
I mean, with our wide splits and the wide high school hashes, I mean, almost everything you have to do has to be to the field. If we're on the hash, our tackles dang near on the numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I that's the one thing that I absolutely hate about the high school level.
It's so different, right? Holy cow.
How wide the hashes are. Because college is enough that you can work to either side, and we will still run. I will still run for short yardage. I'll run like I've always liked YSL to the boundary at any level. I think YSL is a great one to the boundary, and I guess Friday's one that will run some to the boundary. Outlaw, I wouldn't even think of it because there's just not enough room for an outside receiver, no matter how much he cheats in there. But maybe if he's a single receiver and you're just tagging it off a 6 or something like that, then you can still kind of hit that and tap your toes. But yeah, as a whole at the high school level, it's pretty much just bouncing hash to hash.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic.
Different creative ways to get there.
And then best coverage.
On your hand signals, how are you minimalist like Leach used to be, or you got multiple ways to call each thing? What's your thoughts on that? Because we've been wristbands forever, but I want to go to hand signals.
Oh God, we're just simple. So it's like open blue flip or open flip trips star. It's about all the formations we run.
Love it.
So like open 6 or blue 92.
Okay.
But yeah, we blue H jet 94, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, we keep it there, and I mean, and I have found that it is maybe what I find weird is, at the pro level, like when we're in the spring league or XFL or anything like that, like they're not even the other team's not watching your signals.
Yeah.
At college, I don't have the other teams watching my signals. At high school, I'm over there signaling, and I've got the other team's corner, safety, and linebackers just staring at me the entire dang time, and then I'm like, boom, they're like, it's the mesh. So it is something. Maybe that's why we've struggled. Maybe I need to do something a little bit different, or get maybe somebody else in like calling with me, and we have the live guy and the decoy guy or something. But no, like it's always my plan just to do our basic hand signals, and we have gotten some over the years. We'd start to say like, okay, well, we could say 92 for mesh, or we might say like, okay, mesh for mesh. So we have, as we went along, we have sometimes, or sell or pray to the cross, or whatever there. Shallow could be 6 shallow, or we could put the hand down like we're waiting shallow. Break the stick or drop the stick, different things like that. So yeah, I guess in a way we get to that, but it's not something that I'm going to teach day one, or even that I'm ever going to go into a season thinking like, oh, we're going to have multiple ways to call this.
Okay.
Awesome.
We used to always have 3 ways to call everything, and it was a lot. That was back in the day, probably 20 years ago, and it was a lot. So, and I know Leach just didn't care, So
yeah. Well, and that's the whole point. I mean, now one thing that we do that's a little bit interesting with the signals again. So if this is blue, right, and I wanted to run, say like white cross, that'd be like blue 95. If I wanted to run ISO, I'd say blue 35. It's still the same 5.
Hmm.
And then if I wanted to do the play action of 35 and throw white cross, which we call 85, I'd be like blue 85. So now that's in faking 35. So you start to get some that look alike, or, we got 6, and then we say 6, X shallow or whatever. Or if I wanted to run GT counter, I say 36. So you do get some signal, players are like, well, why do we have the same signal? I'm like, well, one, it's just what we call it, but two, it's, maybe that confuses them a little bit. But,
Yeah,
but yeah,
our numbers stay the same. It's the indicator that's different.
yeah. I mean, I see these guys, that have the big, they'll have like they'll have like 4 quadrants with like Bill Nye the Science Guy and a little Italian man eating a piece of pizza or something, and then I don't know, a freaking tombstone, and then a French fry or something.
Have you ever asked them? Have you ever asked them to explain it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty inquisitive. I ask and I never really understand what they're saying, so I just kind of shake my head and then try to get out of the conversation as fast as I can and go back to my.
Only one, the only one that was a buddy of mine, like I could trust his answer. He said it's all bullcrap. It doesn't. so, so I don't know. I don't know if that's for everybody or just for that team. But he said they'd make the board. Said it meant nothing. They just hold it up. So
Well, I mean, it might be a way, we might get people to hold up a board, and then when I'm over there doing this shit, maybe they'll be looking at the
they're looking at the board.
maybe they'll be looking at the board and not at me.
There you go.
So
That
there might
was
be
just
something
one
to
guy, but he was someone I trusted. So I know in their program, it didn't mean anything. They're just holding up a board.
That's
See what
hilarious.
I don't like about. I'm really bad, and I guess it's just maybe because I learned from Mummy, but he's never been a headset guy. If he was the play caller, he would always have somebody beside him,
Mm.
maybe that had a headset on that would tell him like, hey, they saw this or whatever. But and so for me, I hate wearing headsets. As a coordinator, I'm going to do what the head coach wants, and usually it'll be because the head coach, if I want to talk to him about, hey, are we going for it on fourth, what it's third down and in 7, I'm wondering, hey, are you giving me fourth down or do I need to try to pick it up right now? Things like that. But as a whole, for me, like I don't want to have a headset on. As a head coach, I'm not going to be wearing a headset. This summer I won't be wearing a headset. And so for me, that makes it hard too. If you got all these whiteboards, and I don't want to be talk. I don't want to talk. I want to flow. Like I'm not a big. I'm very much. We'll script out what we do. And we'll stay. We'll run through our open script as is, unless we hit a different down and distance or you know zone of the field. But other than that, like when I get through it, it's not. I hear a lot of people say like, "Well, we go through the open field script, and then we see how they're adjusting, and then I'll make our play calls off that." I don't really do that. Honestly, it's more of feel, and I feel like I get into a flow state, and if I'm in my flow state, if I'm like, "Hey, well, yeah, we're gonna do this right here, get that card available, blah blah blah, and all this stuff," all in that time, I feel like I lose my flow, and then also I'm constantly communicating with my quarterback like while he's out on the field, where he'll look over at me and be like, he'll ask for like an indicator of like what coverage do you think this is if he's not sure, or what are you thinking progression wise, what should I do, or he'll say like, hey, I don't like this, give me another play, or he might already have a play he wants to do. So I've got, but pre snap, I've got this constant like flow back and forth with my quarterbacks where we're communicating because I tell them I never want you to snap the ball if you don't feel confident in the play working. So my quarterbacks know rule one is never come to the sideline complaining about the play call because you got the chalk in your hand last. It's your decision if we actually snap this. Anything I do is a suggestion, and I don't care if you're my freshman. I probably assume that you're going to ask me a lot more. You're going to be working with me a lot. If you're a returning 2-year starter, you're probably not looking to me near as much because you kind of know what we're doing and you know what you're comfortable with. But if you
All right,
do look to
so
me and you ask me something, I know that we can. I know that
like
it's we're gonna have something good there.
so go back through that. They can ask you help with the coverage. What was the other ones?
Yeah. So
They don't like it.
if they're like out, they're just like I just have them do this like coverage, or if they're actually touching the head, they're like, what are you thinking? So if we got YSL calling, I might be like, I'd say like I think Z, or I think Z on post.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'll give him that to adjust. So pretty much what he's giving me is just that it's either what do you think about the coverage, what are what are you thinking progression wise, where do you think the ball's going to go, or they'll just say like, hey, I don't want to do this. And for me, what my responses can be is, if it's coverage, I'll just give them one, two, three, four, or whatever. If they're asking what in the progression, I'll either tell them like, hey, just go through the progression, or I'll say I think this is going to be open. But there will be times maybe that I see like shit the X. I mean, because this is where I came up with this entire idea was, remember, it's probably my third or fourth year coaching, and I'm like on the sideline, and I'm like, man, if he sees, I'm like the X is gonna win on this fade. If he sees the X, if he sees Johnny right here, this is a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there saying it to the coach beside me, and then he doesn't do it. And we're like, oh, Johnny was open. Why didn't you throw to Johnny? And I'm like, well, that's crappy coaching. Why didn't I just tell him like, hey, just scream out to him and say, and so I can say think X, think Johnny, or I can say, hey, X now, meaning I don't care about progression. I want you to catch the ball and you throw it to the X. If it's a pick, it's a pick. I don't care. I think this is there and I want you to throw it. But that's pretty much it's like the coverage, what I'm thinking is going to be there, go through the progression or do this now. And the other one that I could just do, if they're asking me like if they say no, I used to would always give them a different play. But what I've found is like 95% of the time, if they tell me no, it's because they see something they already like. And so now if they tell me no, I usually just point at them and they'll turn their head right away and go call the play. And more often than not, it works. That's one thing that I've found is no matter where I've been, no matter what level, and I understand it because through my whole long career in Europe, I called every play when I was there. So I understand you got the best seat in the house, and so quarterback tells me something's there. I 9 out of 10 times I'm saying run it, even if it's last 10 seconds of the game, last play of the game on the line. If the quarterback tells me this is there, I'm going to trust him, and I think it's worked out more often than not. The receiver comes and says, "Hey, I can win on this route. I'm going to do it." No, I just found my players know that they, if they see something, we want them talking to us, and or they'll tell their position coach, and then he'll come over and tell me.
Man, I
Talk
love.
about your film study with your quarterback, both the like Monday after the game, going through the game, and leading up to the game, your scout film. How do you handle that kind of communication?
Uh, Another unpopular opinion incoming soon. First, as far as with my players, when we will watch every practice. What I usually do is because our quarterbacks don't go both ways, everyone else does at the high school. So we do offense first every day. Then me and my quarterback, we like jog inside and we go and we watch our entire film right then. We go in, we watch it for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we go back out and he's gonna do like, play scout quarterback whenever the defense gets to team. Um, but I mean, as far as watching, we'll just literally watch the plays and just you know we'll pause it there, pre-snap or whatever, and but what do you think the coverage is here? What are you seeing? What were you thinking pre-snap here? I'd be thinking this. Okay, cool. Then we'll just slowly play it through, and more often than not, we just find ourselves freezing and constantly, and I'm circling there, the little huddle, yellow circle saying, "Look, second read, wide open." our hips are already going, or our hips aren't going. Because I always teach guys, I can't see your eyes if I'm watching film, but I can see your hips. So I want your hip pointed at each read in the progression. So I don't want like where like say cell where it's high, medium, low. I don't want to see, or let's say mesh was better because it's high, low, then to the intermediate. I don't want to see a guy drop back and go Z the back there. I want to see Z to the back, measure, measure, back. So I want to see my hip pointing because I know where your eyes are at and I know the speed that you're going through your progression at that time, and I know how fast you're because one huge issue that guys have is they go through. I found it more that they go through the progression too fast, more so than too slow. So that they've already like maybe before the white breaks on cell or something,
Mm.
they've already got down to the back,
Mm-hmm.
or they're already working backside, something like that. And so I want to see their hips timing up with where the receiver should be on their routes. So, yeah, that's something we'll go over a lot. And then as far as opponent's film, I'll probably watch about, I'll probably myself watch 30 minutes to an hour a week of my opponent's film, max. Then my players, I'll show, quarterback. Like I don't show any of our players more than probably like 10 minutes of our opponent, and it's just as simple as okay, are they a 40 front or a 30 front? Um, where do they blitz from? What are we expecting from a coverage situation? And is there somebody that's just really, really good that we need to worry about? Or is there somebody that's really weak that we need to worry about? But we're not going out there trying to really, as Coach Mommy always says, he says when he'd say you're like watching Ghost if you're making your game plan off what you think they're going to do off of what they've done against everyone else.
Mm.
I mean, I'm sure anyone that's ran this
So
offense very long, especially if you're doing the splits and stuff, you get a lot of weird things that you don't see against anyone else. So you spend all week coming up with the perfect plays for what we anticipate that they're going to do, and then they don't do it anyway. So now we just run mesh.
how much at the high school you were at? How much defense of the week kind of nonsense did you get?
Uh, well, when I've been places that we were good, a lot. We've struggled the last 2 years at the high school that I've been at. We're low in numbers, and I mean from we had from 9 to 12 about 40 guys roughly playing last year, where everyone we play teams in our conference that would have 150 guys dressed out, and that might just be varsity. So we probably take a Greenville or Elizabethton in our conference, and they've got a ton of guys and they're really good. So yeah, we just they don't have to do anything special if
Right.
if we've struggled. So
How about
yeah,
how
I guess
about
that's depending on how good we are.
how about in the
Sorry?
spring league? Did anyone screw around with defense of the week, or do they just play what they play?
Jerry did Glenville. That's why I hired him. I'm really really excited to work with him too. He's I tell you, we were in that same hub up in Indianapolis in the spring league, and I was always really really nervous to go talk to him because I felt like he would like pull out like a Tommy gun, like an old school Tommy gun from Dick Tracy, and like shoot up the whole room. But he looks like an old school gangster. He's got the sunglasses on, all black, even when you're indoors. But then, now that I've gotten to talk to him, and I talk to him daily a lot as we're building the team, and he's hilarious. He's about the funniest guy I've ever talked to.
Did you say Jerry
So
Glanville from back in the day? Jerry Glanville?
yeah, that's my defensive
Oh
coordinator.
my God, that's incredible. He was, yeah,
84 years old.
that's amazing.
He,
Wow.
he,
I
he's,
had
he's still short, still sharp mentally. I'll see how well he moves. Our ownership's flying the whole staff in on Tuesday, and we're going to be there for a week. Got a lot of things going on. They do installation things like that. Then a lot of other stuff. To try out a coaches clinic down in San Antonio if there are any coaches in Texas next Saturday. the 21st will be from 12 to 6. We'll have a clinic there. If you go to any of my socials, you can find
Very
that
cool.
information on that. But
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see how Jerry moves that 84 right now.
Man, those Falcons teams back in the days, he had some fun teams to watch. So that should be cool. You got to keep us updated
Well,
on
that's
that.
all. Well, I tell you, it's really interesting when we talk to like a defensive lineman that we're recruiting or something, and he's telling them what he sees on their film. Like I'm, I feel like a beginner that I feel like one of those maybe European quarterbacks that's never been taught before. Whenever I hear him talking D line play and stuff, it's really interesting hearing you know all of his knowledge and just how articulate he is about the things that he sees and how he can watch a 2 minute highlight film and have 30 different coaching points for guys. So
Hmm.
I mean, he was at the level he was at for a reason. He's really good,
Hey, we got.
and he's such a polar opposite to Coach Mummy, who's just like, well, hell, it's just mesh, run the mesh. You know, Jerry's like, and Mummy doesn't watch film at all, and Jerry's like, from what I hear, a like 30, 40 hour a week film guy, like just a film nut.
Wow,
So
incredible.
it's a and that's actually how Hal called me because Jerry reached out to him when I was promoted to head coach, and Jerry's I guess reached out to him saying that he wanted to come there and coach with me. So Hal's who actually called me. He was kind of the link between us.
Very cool. Hey, one last question from the audience. We really want to prioritize the community questions because they're awesome coaches, and Coach Ross Woods Jr. has been a great part of our air raid community for years.
Yeah,
He's
Ross is a great dude.
Yeah, good, awesome. I'm glad you know him. Do you ever take a concept out at a certain point if a quarterback, for whatever reason, just isn't getting it, and you're doing everything you can, and they're just not getting the concept, and you just don't call it anymore at some point?
Yeah, every year, every year there's each year is different. I don't think I've ever had 2 straight years coaching that our best concept one year was our best concept the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, each year that changes, and yeah, that's what we do. The day before the game, like Perfect Thursdays or whatever, we're running through our entire script, and if we're we'll usually carry about 40 total plays on a script, and we'll run. You know, if we're running 40 plays against a D that's letting us catch the ball and stuff, going about 75% the day before the game. If we're sharp, then we can run those 40 plays in about 15 minutes and be done. We'll just start down on the goal line and slowly work our way around the field, working through each field zone. And but if we're bad, it can take forever. And used to, I just thought, well, let's keep going. We screwed this play 6 times in a row. Let's run it a seventh. We're going to be here all night. And now my rule is it's like a 3 strike rule on Perfect Thursday. So if we and I piss my players off a lot and my coaches off a lot with this because it'll be like, oh, we call whatever play it is, we call it, and somebody I don't know doesn't go the right depth that we need. So strike one, we go strike two, and the quarterback overthrows it. Strike three, we drop it. Strike three, that plays out of the script for the week. That doesn't mean we won't ever call it again,
Mm-hmm.
but if we can't do it going 75% against a team that's letting us complete it the day before the game, I don't feel too confident in running it the next night. And it pisses me off sometimes because this plays that I think will be really good for us, but I try to stick to my guns on that. And so it's a way to really get guys to lock in there because, if it's a good play that we all like and we know is going to work, they better make it work the day before the game.
Coach Salas, how have you handled that? Same thing. Do you take out year by year? What if quarterbacks can't pick something up? Are you the same or?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know that. We have more. Like our plays are going to be like 96 is going to be 3 4 years in a row. It's our best play.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes our screen, 9 out of 10 years, Larry Rogers is going to be our best screen. So usually our best stuff is our best stuff. But some years, some kids just they're not that good at something, and you give it a shot through the spring, you give it a shot through the summer, and then early in the season, you're just wasting reps, so you go ahead and dump it. So
Yeah.
I think most everybody's that way. You get to a point where you dump it and spend the time on stuff that you're actually good at.
Gotcha. All right, we're getting close on time, guys. I want to be conscious. Sunday night for everybody, and we don't need to go into a deep explanation of this, Coach. But I do think I would love to hear it, and I know I've had other coaches all week excited to hear, like, what do you call, Coach, when the chips are down? I don't know. Let's just call it the most dramatic situation possible, right? Fourth and something, and it's just that easy, huh? That's what you're doing.
Six.
Six it is.
Well, six for us is anything, right? It's not four verticals. And we got the base route concepts that we run there, but our quarterbacks have freedom to check or tag anything on there. So, you know, any kind of leverage they get, depending on the down and distance, they can signal any singular route or any route combination to the two different guys, things like that. So I say that's our go-to play, but really it's endless options of plays really there.
And those tags, I mean, first of all, I love how you and Coach Salas and the best air raid coaches I've talked to over the last handful of years, you can tell there's a trust there. When they get to the level of trust with the quarterback, and almost at some point, it sounds like you're there a lot of the time, where you're letting them actually call the plays because they understand what you've tried to teach them, and obviously they understand defense to some point. And that's incredible. And I think that is a goal for most coaches, that they can get to that point.
Yeah.
But are you in that situation? If you see something where you want to call six and then tag a shallow or tag a dig or something, is it you doing that, or is it them, or is it literally just situation, whichever one?
I mean, generally it's them. I'm just going to call six. Now, we will have situations where maybe, I see a quarters look. We got, third and 17 or something. I see a quarters look there. And I mean, I remember this is a specific situation, 2021. I was coaching at JUCO in Minnesota, and we're in the conference semifinal game, and we got third and 17 down by, I think we're down by like four with like 7 or 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And we're pretty deep in our territory, maybe about the 20-yard line. And I had star six called, so five verticals. And then I noticed, I'm like, okay, well, all that they have over number two on the two receiver side is the safety. So I know that safety is going to be responsible for him for sure. And so, I called it H sit, which is telling him he's going to run the 10 yards, sit it down. But really, what he's trying to do is occupy that safety to pull that safety down. So we call it H sit X post. And we posted over his head and hit that for a 80-yard touchdown or whatever. He ended up winning the game. So, I mean, yeah, I'll definitely, much like the whole, oh, they're pressing Johnny here. If we throw a fade to him, it'd be a touchdown. I'm going to yell it out to him. I'll very often, I'll yell at him and say, hey, stop, let's do this. So, yeah, it's a combination. But as a whole, I'm pretty much normally just calling the main play. And, it happens a lot more that they change the play than I change the play.
That's so awesome. That is, that's definitely coach's goals. I think a lot of people would love to have a quarterback that in tune with what you're teaching. Coach Salas, any other questions for Stan while we have him here?
Tell us about the Toros, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tell us about that. That sounds like a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, the Continental Football League was around back in the 65 to 69. It was pretty much the minor league. It was the unofficial minor league to the NFL, and then when they merged with the AFL in '70, that kind of pushed them out because you had so many more teams at that point. But I mean, at the time, you had Bill Walsh was coaching in the league.
Wow.
Kenny Stabler was playing. Doak Walker was part of the league. So you had like all of these really prominent names that came from the league, and the Toros actually played in the championship game against, I think it was the Indianapolis Capitals in the final year in '69. So two teams that, and that's they brought back, I guess now bringing this league back. 4 of the 8 teams are teams that were original teams in the league.
Cool.
And it's Manny Matsakis, who I had the pleasure of coaching with last summer, and he's became one of my closest friends. I love Manny to death. But Manny and Mike Kelly, who's been a long time CFL GM and head coach, they're kind of the brainchilds behind putting this league together. And it's really interesting because the whole goal is to be that bridge between the UFL, CFL, NFL, and everything else. Because right now, if you're in America, you got to play indoor ball, arena ball, which is it's entertaining and it's a great level of play. I think if you took the top 5 arena teams and you put them into one team and you let them go and play in the UFL, they would be right there, competing to win the championship. I think there's that much talent, but I don't think the sport translates over. I watch that the same way that I watch a guy, if I'm watching a receiver play basketball and he's jumping over guys dunking and he's quick and making moves, I'm like, okay, he's a great athlete. Now let me see him play football. If I see a indoor guy that's been dominant there, I'll say, okay, cool, you played indoor 4 years. Show me your college film from 5 years ago. I'm more interested in seeing that than what you did last week at the indoor level, because to me it just doesn't translate. So there really hasn't been that bridge where you do like I did and you go over to Europe or go overseas or something, or semi-pro is really, there's nothing semi about it. It's pretty amateur for 99% of the teams. But you got to feed that around really well. But we wanted to be that bridge that actually, we call it like double A pro football. We're seeing CFL and UFL is like the triple A. And so we want to be that bridge that gets guys there. So one really interesting thing that we've done with Mike's, all of his experience in the CFL, is we are doing a play on words with the league name, and in the fourth quarter we're doing the continental shift, where we're going to go from NFL rules to CFL rules in the fourth quarter. So it'll still be 11 man, but you're going to have 3 downs, 20-second play clock, D-line a yard off.
Oh, wow.
Get all the interesting, you got the motions where everybody can be motioning towards the line.
Oh, yeah.
You got the interesting kicking rules. So we kick a field goal and we miss it, but it goes out of the back of the end zone, we still get 1 point. So, or if we punt the ball and they don't recover it, it's our ball. So, we can catch it and punt it 6 yards past the line of scrimmage, and our gunner can jump down on it, and it's a first down. So that's going to be interesting. What that does is that gives exposure, where those teams can see guys playing a similar type play of what they'll see. But, working it up, we'll start training camp. May 20th will be first practices. First game's already May 30th. We'll play 6 straight weeks. Semifinal July 11th, championship July 18th or 19th. And got 4 teams in Texas. We have San Antonio, Austin, Midland, and Fort Worth. And then 4 teams up north in Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Coach Mumme's the head coach in Indianapolis, and Detroit, and Steve Kaiser, who's longtime coach at the highest levels and been a GM for the Lions, I believe, was the GM for the Michigan Panthers the last 3 years. He's the head coach there, and Coach Manny Matsakis, there in Ohio Valley where I was last summer. So a lot of good coaches, and it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're not. I've had people ask about, well, where can we watch it on TV? It's just going to be streamed.
Sure.
And I say that it's similar to like AA baseball. We're not trying to be bigger than what we are, or fake it till you make it, which I think a lot of leagues do when they start up. AA baseball, everybody that knows anything about baseball understands how high the level it is and how important it is for guys to move up to AAA and so forth. But I understand that. I mean, baseball was my main sport through college even. But even me being a baseball guy, I can't tell you any AA baseball teams' names. And I can't find it on TV if I look for it. So, it doesn't have to be on TV or be like a name brand thing for guys to go get coached, developed, and get film out and have a chance to move on to the next level.
No, it sounds like
Awesome.
tremendous value. Yeah, that's great. That's very cool. And so you're going to be calling the shots, head coach, OC, GM duties. What does GM duties look like? Is it just like what we think of other GMs, putting together the ingredients and getting to cook it too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm a very good GM. I think I'm doing a pretty dang good job from a player personnel area,
There you go.
and I think we built a great staff and a really strong roster so far. So I think from that side, the football side, it's good, but from the organizational things, it's I'm learning daily, and luckily we've got a lot of people involved with our ownership and our management that do know what they're doing. So it helps me out a lot because I know that I have a lot of weaknesses and I'm learning every day as I go with that. So um, yeah, it's not. But what I always say is that I, I pretty much need to win this year because I don't have any excuses because I can't blame this guy or that guy. I'm kind of in charge of all of that. So um, it gets the pressure's on.
Nah, it'll be great.
Is it that hub format that you guys did in the spring league?
It's not a hub format, but the leagues are separated in a sense of like we're all in our, everybody's in their own city and they're gonna live there, practice there, play there, be involved in the community. But like the South Division, all the Texas teams, we'll play the other three Texas teams home and away, and then the semifinal will actually be the top two teams in Texas. It's it is like the spring league in that way that we had, the Northern Division in Indy, the South Division in Houston, and then the champions played. And so
Okay.
it will be that. But basically, you've got your 6 game regular season, like us, we'll have our 6 games in Texas. Top two teams in Texas will play, and then the winners of that will go up north for year one and play whoever wins up there.
Sounds like a great deal, man. I know you're
Yeah,
excited.
really, I'm so excited, man. And you guys, like, Joe, obviously, always welcome. But any coaches, we're always happy if anybody wants to come and shadow around a bit, come watch some practices or
Wow.
anything like that. We're try my best to always be as accessible as possible to any coaches that want to learn.
Well, let me ask you about you
Well,
two. I wanted to ask you both this, and Salas, this is what I wanted. I've been meaning to ask you too. I've been watching a lot of Mummy and Leach, just old tapes and stuff. I'm trying to put together some really cool packages for people to find them easily. Talking, it sounds like they consciously, um, I mean, lack of a better term or phrase, wanted to kind of spread the word, right? And like, if anybody wanted to talk to them, they would always make a point to. They'd always seem to be really open to just teaching as many people about this offense and philosophy as possible over the years. Was that something that they talked about actively with you guys? Or was it just something that they just did and it just comes across as a very intentional thing that they did?
I took it as Hal's personality. I mean, he was always open to talk to anybody about the offense. I don't know if it was he was trying to spread the gospel about the air raid. I just think he was open. He was, some guys are very secretive,
Yeah.
and Hal was extremely open and would talk to anybody. What do you think, Stan?
I just think that they're both conversationalists.
Mm.
They're both very straightforward guys, and I don't think they're trying to trick you or like make you believe something that's not true. So I just think they both like to talk a lot, and so I think if you talk to them about air raid, then you're going to learn a lot because I mean they're you know very knowledgeable guys, and there's a lot to pick up from that. That's how I've always felt about it, and from my aspect, I really I enjoy helping coaches, and I love nothing makes me feel better than working with a coach and they maybe turn something around or they get over the hump that they haven't been able to or they win a championship and nothing makes me feel better than whenever they reach out to me and they're like, oh, thanks so much, this completely changed what we're doing, or I like helping people. So for me, that's my motivation to do it at least, and I think with them I just think they were both really smart and like to talk, and they were passionate about the air raid. So you get the pleasure to speak with either of them, then you're probably going to learn a lot.
No, that's so cool. And I guess it's just personality type. Yeah. Since I've kind of been going down this air raid rabbit hole, handful or so years ago, everybody's been very open. including Joe Salas right off the bat. But everyone's been open. So yeah, I didn't know if it was and definitely don't think that anyone's trying to trick anyone. I mean, it is the simplest, easiest passing spread offense to put in for any level. So, it is the truth, whatever the case may be. So I just think it's great that this community does take care of each other like that. And it wasn't an intentional thing, but I think maybe their personalities made kind of, modeled that for you guys in some way.
Well, I think it's probably Tony Franklin that really got people like, because he been selling the Tony Franklin system thing. Whether I know that there's not a lot of love lost between you know Coach Franklin and some of those guys, but I think Coach Franklin's who kind of made it a mainstream in the community of like, oh, this is what we do and how we do it, and
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
think with that, that's not kind of I think that's where was maybe the catalyst of, oh, here's all the stuff we do,
Mm.
and then you get so many and I think it just kind of became a thing of like, okay, well, air raid coaches are very open, whereas run and shoot's kind of the opposite. You gotta like, it's tough. There's a few coaches now that are out there a bit more, but that's something that I thought was that I really enjoyed last year with Coach Metsakis was getting to, I could have drawn up, the basic run and shoot concepts, but I wouldn't say that I knew them that well. So getting to actually learn that was really good for me.
So cool.
I and I'm probably biased, and I don't have anything against Tony. Like I like Tony,
Mm-hmm.
but I always gave credit to Hal. That Hal, I have never seen Hal not be open with a coach that wanted to learn something.
Yeah.
And I think when you're under Hal, you just naturally like, I was a young kid when I was under him,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just the way you did stuff. Is someone asked you a question, you explained it to them,
Mm.
and I wouldn't have said run and shoot, but there are systems and there are coaches out there that everything's a secret. Like they don't understand. I get to watch your games before we play. Why are you? There's no. I'm gonna get to watch your tape, but there's just some people that are secretive, and I think Hal just it filtered down from him that every guys are very open and will teach you anything.
Love that. Love that. All right. Anything else, Coach Salas, while we have Stan before he gets into his deep spring? Sounds like.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick you up. I want to come watch you guys practice out there. That sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
You're
trip.
welcome.
Yeah.
We'll go. We'll start on the Wednesday. That Wednesday, May 30th. We'll go 2 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday we'll have a run through, and then already on Sunday we're gonna have a preseason game, and then we'll make our cuts down from 50 to 40. So anybody that wants to come and kind of see us install it and work, just I'm not hard to get in touch with. I will say that I am very difficult to get to maybe text you back sometimes because I'm terrible at texting anyway. I'm typically if I'm more of a caller if I want to learn something or ask a question, I'll just call it and get it over with. So, and then I get on X on any given day, I might get 50 messages
I
probably. So
I
it's
remember I was out on my porch grilling steaks, and Stan called one time, and and we talked. I don't know how long we talked, a half hour or so, and I had to write down notes because every time you talk to him, like I probably got 4 pages of notes just tonight, and I was trying to cook steaks and write notes and hold the phone in my ear. And of course, I ended up burning all the steaks. But every time you talk to Stan, it's just there's so much information coming at you so fast. If you don't have a pen, you're in trouble because you're missing stuff. So it's always great to get to hear you talk, man, because I always learn stuff from you.
appreciate you, brother. I always appreciate you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your air raid experience with everybody. I think, with this wide range of coaches that we have here, it's just hearing people talk through things, not always having to draw it up, but just talk through the nuance, and that's really where that value comes out. And yeah, we'll be excited. And anybody out there, I know there's a lot of Texas coaches in our community. So wow, I wish I was closer. I would definitely want to take you up on that offer. So very cool. And we have
And,
people.
and just for was gonna say just where we don't slide our guys that I asked before. If you want, I don't mind pulling up really fast though.
Yeah, no, if you have time, I was trying to be conscious of you.
I'm gonna scroll through real quick because I do gotta run here pretty soon.
Yeah, please.
But
If you,
I'll share my screen and I'll scroll through really fast and
yeah, that's awesome.
I'll show you guys. This was the gameplay. Can you see my screen right now?
It hasn't popped up yet. You use the little share screen in Discord, yeah?
Yeah. Hold up.
Oh, there it is. Okay, now it's coming. And
All
Joe,
right.
you're gonna have to
So
click
let
on
me.
that watch box to see it. I'm clicking to
I
make it
can.
bigger on YouTube, but okay.
So you see the game plan thing now?
Practice plan, yeah. Joe, you see that little
Okay.
white box that says watched?
I'll scroll through this really fast. And again, if guys will, if you're having an accident, just send me your email. If you want me to send you the PowerPoint or whatever, I'm happy to do so.
Sweet.
But just to go real quick here. No, this I'll show those videos and then I'm gonna run it. Just swore this is where it said full screen. Okay. So the 3-day install that guys talked about, this is essentially how we're doing it. So and all we're gonna do is, you know, 1, 2, 3, day 4, we'll go back to hitching Friday. Maybe we had a variation of mesh, something like that. But we keep it simple, and on those days we only do what is on that day. So on day 2, I'm not gonna run hitching Friday at all, or day 3, I'm not gonna run 6 at all. I stick, so it's not like a progressive thing. It's just within those days. So that's how we do it, like preseason camp, spring ball, anything install like that. And what I always do for any high school that I've been at, spring ball I only do open and blue, and that's it because that covers every concept. And I just want to really get the guys familiar and comfortable with the progression and the concept. And then as we get into like fall camp, we'll add, our trips and empty stuff.
Mm.
Look from the practice plan standpoint, pre-practice. We always say practice really starts when 7 news. So if coaches want to do some indie work or something like that, we tell them to get out there a bit early. So we build that into time. Um, sell the news and send the centers back over with the O line. We got about 20 minutes. We'll do pat and go quick game mesh drill. Then the line will come over to us and we'll run whatever our screen of the day is against pad or against and shields as fast as we, get as many reps as we can. Then the line will go back over. They only do pass pro for that first 40 minutes, but work pass pro drills, things like that. But they'll do the run game stuff while we do routes on air, which is, routes on air for quick game mesh drill and routes on air are all the same. It's as many quarterbacks as we have, that many balls in the air going through the plays. But routes on air is what we would call our drop back passes. So like 6, YSL, Y cross, mesh. But yeah, so there's a look of it. But down here at the bottom, bandit drill is that's the way that we run. Bandit drill is how we run our, you know, I guess team or 11-on-11, and we'll start at the -5, run a play, and guys are going to run all the way to the 50 and score.
Mm.
No matter what happens. If it's a handoff and we get stuffed at the line, the running back's going to spin off and run and sprint all the way to the 50 and score. And then we're going to move to the left hash -10. We throw it complete, he's going to run to the 50. If it's incomplete, no matter what, we're still going to run to the 20, middle, 30 right, 40, and so forth. And so we balance. So this is how we work different field zones, no huddle, substitutions, because whether it's a formational substitution or if that we throw, a deep ball to that Z on from the -5, he's going to be running on there and scoring. The backup Z's coming in for that play from the -10.
Mm.
And for guys that haven't seen it, I'll give you a look at that. Philosophy coming off is our -1 to -5. We got about 3 or 4 plays. They never change all season. 2 of those are going to be shot plays. Then we're going to have a run and a quick game. Yellow zone -6 to -19. We're throwing our shallows and use like our surge screen, which is a double screen with a swing and a jailbreak. Open field is where we're going to script. That'll be about 10 to 15 plays. We're running those in order unless we get to like a third down situation where we got third and short or third and long plays that we script every week, about 3 or 4 to 5 maybe at the most. Red zone 19 to 6. A lot of mesh, a lot of corner, 3x1 shallow. We like there with the single receiver running shallow with a dig post fade on the trip side. And then our goal line package is usually going to be usually two packages, like two formations, and we let our quarterback call those, and that doesn't really change much all year either. That's pretty much what I just talked about here with the philosophy of it. The sample script's gonna, it hits all of those zones. We might have something for tricks or something along those lines.
Oh, cool. I like that.
High school Monday, that's where we're gonna take a quick look at our opponent's film just to get an idea of what they do. So that's where I said it's gonna be 5 or 10 minutes with the guys. We're gonna go over our game plan. If there's anything I need to drop on the board, we'll do it. Then we'll walk through. Then we're gonna go out and do kickoff, kick return. Tuesdays we start working down the field. So we got coming off yellow, open field, and our third and long, and we work punt and punt block. Wednesday, third and short, open field again. So we want to run that script twice: red zone, goal line, and then field goal block. And then on Thursdays, we're going to work our scramble drill. So we'll just call some base plays. Quarterback will scramble, and we got our rules we do there. The perfect Thursday that I talked about with, running the whole script. If we mess it up, redo it. If we mess it up a couple times, we take it out. We'll work our onside kick hands team that day, and then we'll do our special teams review. Just make it, run through all of them once. So that's like the typical practice week that I do, and I think the last slide I had here, you all should have it, but
Nice.
on X, just write my name, and it's easy to get that, and I'll pull these up real quick. And
Awesome. Yeah, while you're doing that, there's a bunch of people on the chat on YouTube saying that you are a great follow on Twitter. So make sure that you follow. Obviously, I'll put that on the screen earlier when I edit this up so people see it. But at Stan Bedwell on Twitter.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
All right, quick look at these, and we'll just look at these first 5 clips here. So this is from a first year at a junior college. This is a first practice, I think. So here we don't have the centers over.
Is that Jared Lorenzen?
Oh. He was a hefty lefty.
Yeah, he was.
Actually,
that's what I'm saying.
His brother actually came to us and then ended up moving to his brother was in high school. They both played quarterback in Montana, and he's about 6'5", 240.
Damn. And
his brother was bigger than him, and his brother starts for I believe the Buccaneers now.
Whoa.
At left tackle. Either left or right tackle, one of the tackles. But this is in Italy.
Very cool.
So here, you can really see the low stance. We want to be able to set a drink on your back and it not spill, inside foot up. Fast hands, fast feet, get a rip, low stick, nose over toes, up, catch it, tuck it, turn straight up. And this is kind of like a little world tour of settling noose right now.
That's very cool. Across the globe.
See, like this one, I would yell at him because he goes low, but his chest stays up. So he's giving them plenty of body to touch there. This is some of my young kids, and these are about 13-year-olds in Finland. They were quite good at what we did here.
Yeah, the sentiment of American football's positive overseas, I'm assuming. I mean, it's fun to watch, I know.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, you see here where he's like kind of the glass hallway he's catching, he's tucking and turning straight up the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you ever teach that old school basketball drop step? I started kind of talking about it like that.
I haven't. I mean, that's essentially near what they're doing.
Yeah.
But this is Germany here, so we'd hit a little bit of all those. But yeah, that's essentially what we do. And here's just kind of the tempo of what we're doing on Settling News. So it's really relaxed. You've probably seen this clip if you follow me much. We actually have Mozart blaring on the speakers right now while we were doing this.
Mozart.
And so I say it's kind of like a little symphony here. You got the music blaring loud instead of rap or hard rock. It's Mozart.
Like it.
And our guys we're nice. We're calm. We're relaxed. And the ball up high and taking our chin all the way to it. We always say take the chin, go over the rainbow, so I want my chin to go up, and I want it to follow it all the way through into my hands. And then we freeze every catch that we do that doesn't involve a defender. So you see even there's that kind of freeze where he even kind of holds it out in front of his face for a second. Not sure, same thing here. You're gonna get that freeze. For me, that's just so important that it's down, it's there. I see the eyes staying directly on the ball. Throws eyes there until I get it tucked.
Love it.
Mesh drill here. So here, this is in Finland. We got 5 quarterbacks here. This is at our training camp. So we got two guys there, and they're both giving the man zone look. So here they're both working in, turning in. They're old coaches, so I don't want to have to run, but they're going to turn in both. And so each guy's yelling money, money, which for us means it's man to man. So now they know that they're going to bend up after the mesh. So we had mesh wheel called right there. Then here's some at Bellhaven of our quarterbacks going through mesh drill there, and you can do it with two guys where you have one over each guy and you're working it, or if you have just one coach, just tell them either to scoot back for zone or work out either way for man. That's how Mumme teaches it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of see them all going through. Progression is that Z first, who the number 2's throwing here on the right. Second read is the back, which 12 gets to. Then you get play side mesh, backside back. And then the quarterbacks all just move over the next one. Same thing here, routes on air. This is Y cell, same thing. They're all dropping back and just all working through that progression in order. So we'll do that each one 5 times where every quarterback gets to throw each one. If we don't have enough, right, if it's like high school, we got 2 guys, we're just going to throw like the first 2 reads or a pre-snap read and then the next 2 to the backside, something like that. And here's bandit drill. This is actually me playing quarterback. This is in Finland in 2017. So we're -5. And I think here, because we were like a 75, 80-yard field because it was a soccer field where I think I was moving it every 5 yards instead of every 10. So we're getting more plays in. But let's see, like no matter what we're doing here, so screen, boom, they're catching it. Defense is kind of tagging off at the hip, but they're going to score every time. I don't want them to have to run 95 yards, so we say the end zone is the 50. Me throwing an absolute dot right here on a play action. My big tight end, and he drops it. Tries to one-hand it. But even though it's incomplete, we're still moving up, to wherever we would have. Like, no matter what, we're moving the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, back shoulder, and then we just work it through. And work it all the way down. And what we're doing, like, all week we're working so different screens, we're working whatever plays we were running in these actual field zones. So this, I'm assuming, yeah, so there's a goal line play here to finish it. So we're line there and we're doing steps over. Then it's like a ton of drill film, but that's some of how we practice at least.
No, that's helpful, and people were asking for that online, so that's or on the chat. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for showing those drills. And the bandit drill is something that I know Joe does really well. I don't. You guys, is that just universal? Like Mumme taught the bandit drill, you guys all do it the same, or Joe? Is that? I feel like you did a little bit a different variation on that.
We call bandit 2-minute drive. I think Stan's calling it his team period.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was just trying to make sure I understood the difference.
Yeah. We do now when we get in season, like we'll do that throughout till we get in season. Then when we get in season, it really depends on number of players and different things like that. I don't have enough guys to get like a good bandit drill during the season really, so we just kind of have a look team out there. But it's great for no huddle and practicing your substitutions and guys seeing when they have to come in for a teammate and things like that, and you get to work all the different you get to work your plays at different parts of the field instead of just coming back and running every play from the same spot every time.
Yeah, thanks for showing your scripting for the field too. That's really cool. I think that's something that every coach should be doing, but probably a lot of them don't. But I love that. Just certain plays for certain parts of the field, and it makes it simple to kind of look down if you are one of those coaches that wants to refer to those notes. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting more than enough thank yous and appreciations on both in here in Discord and on YouTube. Everyone's really appreciative of your time, Coach. So thanks for taking the time to break all that down for them.
Yeah, and happy to come back again. Anytime you guys decide what we'll work it out.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll be watching. Best of luck with the Toros. Yeah, that's gonna be fun to see for sure.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you guys.
Thanks, Stan.
All right, great. And everyone else, thank you guys for joining us tonight on this Sunday night Air Raid Academy. We have next week Coach Terrence Banks, another great spread coach. He's a high school coach that's been on our channels before as well, so tune in for that one. But again, Coach Bedwell, this is our most active and engaging Sunday Night Live so far. We have way more people than usual and way more questions. So thank you for kind of helping us with our numbers and dropping this knowledge tonight.
Yeah, well, and thanks. I'm happy to be part of the Discord now, so maybe I'll break my streak and actually post a little bit or something.
Yeah, pop in. We're here for it. All right, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you guys.
All righty. Talk soon.
Bud. Great job, Matt.
All right, yeah, cool, man. That was awesome. It's fun to have a guy like that come on. I didn't expect him to say yes that quickly, so it's like, yeah, whenever you're available, take it. So, great.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's good about jumping in when he can.
Yeah, I've never met him, so that was really cool of him to do that, and without knowing me much. But yeah, cool, man. So yeah, I'll ping you. I'll get you the cut up again, of course, within a couple of days, and keep it rolling. We're up to almost 100 people in here now, so I'll keep pushing that, and obviously you do the same on your channels, and yeah, we'll be over 100 in no time.
All right, sounds good, buddy.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
a lot.
Sleep well.